I'm going to share a truth this morning. I hope you don't judge me too much, but I don't really like parades. I know that doesn't sound, I see Dick thumbs up, right? I know that's not the American way. It's almost like disliking apple pie or disliking postings of kittens and babies on Facebook, but I don't like parades. I've never liked watching them. I never really understood them. I mean, you have usually a local high school band playing some new pop tune. You usually have, various people riding floats with this smile plastered on their face and the hand wave the particular way. Usually you have the convertible with the inevitable beauty pageant winner, Miss Clive, 2017, with her crown riding in the back, waving as well. So I've never really understood the appeal of parades. Now, I did get to be in a parade once when I was quite young. My elementary football team, the mighty Maroon Falcons, won the city championship, which was really, quite honestly, the pinnacle of my football career. So we got to ride in the parade. I know in front of us was the local high school band, and my memory is they were playing Stairway to Heaven. I'm not quite sure why, but that was my memory. We rode in the back of these old pickup trucks, a bunch of us riding in the back of those, waving at folks. And I remember it kind of being a very odd experience. It was kind of like being in a traffic jam. You go a few feet and then you stop, and you go a few feet and you stop. And what I remember most is the most important thing to me out of that whole experience was I didn't want to fall out of the truck. That may be the root of my dislike for parades. It could very well be. Now, Marcus Borg and John Dominic Crossan point out that for the readers, for those who listen to the story of Palm Sunday, would say that most of those folks who lived at that time would be aware there were really two parades going on in Jerusalem on that very same day. On one side of town, Pontius Pilate would be entering the city of Jerusalem with a parade of soldiers. Now, the week of Passover brought Jews from all over the country, from all over the world. It was rather an opportune time for unrest or protest. And so what Rome would do every year at the beginning of Passover is they would parade into Jerusalem. Soldiers marching, wearing their gold armor, riding in chariots, riding these large horses to show the might of Rome, to intimidate the folks in Jerusalem. I imagine in modern day version it'd be tanks rolling in town, missiles attached on the back to show the power of the empire. Do not challenge. And if you do, you will be squashed. Pax Romana, the peace of Rome through violence. And there was a second parade, the one we reflect on this morning, the one we embodied, our children embodied as they came forward. And it's a very different parade. In fact, Borg and Crossan argue that Jesus was very intentional in presenting a parade that was very different from the one of Pontius Pilate in Rome. A king, a peasant king, riding on a donkey, as people laid down palms and cloaks. A very different kind of kingdom, speaking to a path of peace, a path of compassion, a different kind of parade. I don't know about you, but I find Rome's parade easier to believe in, if I'm honest. This week especially. I almost hate to turn on the news or open the newspaper, but this week especially. Leader gasses, bombs, chemical weapons his own people. We respond, shooting Tomahawk missiles. That's a parade reflective more of Rome than the other way. And it's actually much easier to see. Much easier to think is the only kind of parade that exists in our world today. I don't like to turn on the news or open the newspaper because I know violence permeates the world around us. Might makes right. And the only way to stand up to violence is violence itself. I just opened the paper this morning before I came here. And the church in Egypt, Coptic Christians celebrating their Palm Sunday, and a bomb goes off in their church. It's so much easier to believe that the only parade in town is Rome's, isn't it? That the parade of peace is just a dream, right? An impossibility. It can't really exist. That passage I read this morning, the one that Matthew included, this king who rides in a humble donkey, Matthew includes it because to him it's obvious that what Jesus' parade is about is a path of peace, right? Where the chariots will be thrown back, the battle bows will be broken, and peace shall reign in the world. That Palm Sunday, the Palm procession, is a parade for peace. And yet I know that before this week is over, those very people who shout Hosanna, many of those very people will say, crucify him, crucify him. But my favorite line from this prophecy from Zechariah is a very odd phrase. He says, you shall be brought home, you shall find your way home, you prisoners of hope. You prisoners, you captives of hope. And I puzzled with that phrase. What does that mean? What might that communicate? And what struck me is that those who follow God, those who are part of God's covenant, part of God, committed to God's way in Jesus Christ, we cannot escape hope. No matter how easy it is to see Rome's parade in the world around us, within our own country, wherever we may be, we cannot escape hope. Because our faith and trust is in something much larger. In a God who is at work in a world filled with Rome's parades, showing us a different way of being in the world. Captives of hope. So the challenge for us as followers of Jesus is, which parade are we going to join? Which parade are we going to follow? It sounds easy, but it's actually pretty challenging. Because it's a challenge to us to believe in a parade that might lead to peace rather than violence, to possibility rather than the impossible. And it might mean we join a parade in which we don't respond to words of anger or righteousness with our own angry words, but with compassion and with peace. It might mean we join a parade that has so many throughout the ages who've been a part of that parade, from Martin Luther King to Mahatma Gandhi to Oscar Romero. That there is this parade of peace that marches through history and leads to something more than what we see right in front of us. And so I like to think that if we join that parade, there's a high school band playing in front of us, playing maybe the song Imagine by John Lennon. Imagine, as he says, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world is as one. That we join in that parade of peace together, across the many divisions that divide us, and that we ride in that old pickup truck called the church, sometimes afraid, stopping and starting, sometimes afraid we'll be falling out, yet always moving onward to the possibility of peace. So the question before us each and every day is, which parade will we join? To God be the glory this day and forevermore. Amen.